fuck? Well, after that rather unceremonious and ungraceful stop, welcome to another Biker Bytes video. Jason here. We're at the Diaglia National Forest, my favourite spot. Haven't been here for quite a while. I think the last time was before the flood. And well, what are we doing here? Well, two reasons. We're here for a jolly good blast on this beautiful day, and I can hear some other bikers, and we're also here to do a 10,000 kilometer review of my DR. So let's get cracking.
Oh, do you do stuff like on YouTube?
Yeah.
Send a link.
Yeah.
The YouTube channel, I'll have a look.
Yeah, just search up Biker Bytes.
What was it?
Biker Bytes.
Biker Bytes.
Yeah.
Cool.
There's probably a stick. There you go. Look.
Oh,
There's about 10 of those all over the bike.
Cool. Alright, let's see if I can make a fool of myself. Now get serious when the mirror comes down.
Oh, yeah. I've left my mirrors stopped because I know at some point they're gonna get wrecked. And there goes Bo. I just met him here just after I did the intro to this video. He rocked up and we got talking. Really nice guy. Got a KTM 505. Yeah. Big knobbly Motos Desert tyres on there. All that's left is his dust trail. I'm just going to be pottering up. I'm not quite as confident as Bo at the moment, not having ridden up here for a while. But yeah, we exchanged numbers and we'll probably catch up for a ride later on sometime in the future. Should be good. Better flip the lid down. There we go. Oh, I can hear myself now. So the plan is I'll stop at my usual stopping point for lunch, which is where I'll do the review, and then after that we'll continue on for the ride. Yeah, that KTM was a beast compared to this, when I say beast I mean, you know, a really good sort of off-road, light and nimble, mean machine. And compared to the DR, which I always thought was a relatively smaller bike, it seemed quite, you know, this thing really did live up to its name of being a pig. So there's no chance in hell I'm going to catch up with Bo, but that's not the plan. If I meet him, that's all good. Oh, it feels good to be back out here. Oh yeah. Last time, as I mentioned, I think was just before the floods, back in February. Did a video cooking steak on a Japanese stove in the rain. Bit of a tongue-in-cheek, and then we had the floods. Oh yeah! This is awesome. I'm so glad I came out. I was sat on the deck outside, feeling sorry for myself, not having the motivation to get up. And then I had this idea, hey, why don't I do a review? And that was the impetus I needed. Hey, look where you're going, to get out. Man, the suspension on this bike is so good now for this sort of stuff. Just perfect. Smashed the screen on my new bloody Pixel phone as well, which I am extremely unhappy about. Wow, we're here already. Scoot skid. Right. Hopefully they haven't let it all overgrown. Nope. Excellent. Perfect. So this is where I'm going to eat and do my review. Oh, they've even chopped it down there as well. Good stuff. Alright, look at that. I was able to stop it without stalling. Right, so the other reason for coming out for a bit of a spin was to do a review of the bike. So it's approximately, almost bang on, 2 years that I've owned this bike, and it's probably the longest time that I've kept a bike. If we just roll back time a little bit, I started off on a Hyosung 250, which was a great beginner's bike. I didn't want to go to the legal 650 for fear of my life, so I thought I'd start off small and go for the 250. And then as soon as I passed my full bike test, I went straight to 1,000, as you do, and had a Kawasaki Z1000, which was an awesome bike. Beautiful looking bike, and as much power as you want. I think they nicknamed them the rear tire shredder. Great bike. But after owning that for a few years, I started getting the feeling for adventure. And that's when I sold my Z1000 and got a KLR. Now, I was going to go for a DR to begin with, but I couldn't find any. So I opted for a KLR, and I had that for, I don't know, about 6 months, I think. It's crazy. So the reason I sold that was it was put together by a shoddy company that rejetted the carb and did other sorts of mods, and they did a real crappy job and had a hell of a time keeping it running nicely. So I thought, bugger it, I'm going to move from a carb and go to fuel injected, and bought the BMW F800. Again, an awesome bike, real good looker. It was an olive green bike. It looked really mean. Really enjoyed that bike. But actually out on the trails, I found it just way too heavy. I just couldn't manhandle that thing. Being only a small guy, I just couldn't handle it. And I found myself saying, nah, I can't do that. No, I won't try that. And I felt like I was missing out on so much. So I thought, bugger it once again. I'm going to go for a DR650. I'm going to go trade all those gizmos and weight for something small and light. Now, I know the DR650 is not exactly small and light, but it is when you're coming down from a BMW like the F800. And when I first had a test ride, I was actually a little bit disappointed in a way, because it felt like a toy bike, and I didn't know whether or not I should get one. But a few weeks later, I think I had an off on my BMW, just from a standing stop. I tried to turn the bike around on a grassy knoll, and I just couldn't hold the weight, and it was at the angle I was at, and the bike just tipped over, and I thought, that's it, I'm trading this, I'm going to get something lighter. And so I got the DR650, and that was 2 years ago. So there you go, that's the story. Now, I'm doing this review because it's actually, besides having the bike for 2 years, it's actually 10,000 kilometers. If you have a look on the clock, if you can see that, I can't tell because I've got my helmet on with a GoPro, but it's at 11:054. Now, when I had my collision with the Emu on my Birdsville trip, the bike had just ticked over 10,000 kilometers, and that was in October. So I've only put 1,000 kilometers on this bike since October. Now, as you know, if you've been following, that this bike was at Brisbane Motorcycles for 3 months, waiting to be repaired. Then after that, it was Christmas, and me and the family had a vacation for 3 weeks, I think it was. Then after that, we had the floods. So things have been pretty hectic. And then I had COVID. So I've only managed to put 1,000 kilometers on during that period. 10 months, 9 months. So it's crazy. But anyway, here we are, finally. So I thought I'd now do a long-awaited review. So, what shall I start off with first? Well, I have a list, because I am forgetting stuff. Alright, let's talk about the mods before the accident. Okay, mods pre-crash. I think the first thing I did was a seat. Now that seat is a custom made seat from a company, or a single run company up in the Sunshine Coast. He takes your old seat, strips it and rebuilds it, and that is a seat concept kind of seat. I've had the suspension done. Now, don't ask me where it is. I got it done. I will put a link in the description. It is a go-to outfitters that do a lot of suspension for DRs and other bikes, and he's the business. And I'm really happy with it. I went for a tougher spring because of riding with luggage on trips and also doing real sort of bumpy stuff. And it's working just a treat. I love it. Before the crash, I had a fork brace on. You can see that's no longer there. I've got side protection, B&B stuff. The bash plate came with the bike because this is a Tanami edition. I got a B&B rear rack here. What you see this Nelson rig bag is attached to. I also have a B&B top plate that sits on the top of that, but I have removed that. Contour CR high bars, really nice. Got bar risers on there too, if you can see. Yeah. And this raises these up really comfy, very nice. And to coincide with that, I've got lowered foot pegs. Now I've got the stock pegs on, but these are ProCycle lowered mounts for them, and that works really good. USB socket, bling. Yes, I have a bit of bling here and here. I painted that inside there. What else bling have I got? I painted the radiator guard, the Suzuki emblem, and of course the obligatory stickers. So shout out to all you guys that have sent me stickers. Pete, Full Pelt Adventures, and Kamikaze Moto, Justin, awesome channel, and a few other bits and pieces on there. And Biker Bytes, not sure who that guy is. Alrighty, what else? I did have Motec Motors side panniers when I had my giant loop panniers, but they went to the bin after my accident. Barrett's exhaust, really happy with that. Sounds big and meaty. Tail tidy, and I put this red reflective strip on there. ProCycle jet kit, you may have seen the video. Installed a ProCycle jet kit, that was fun, with the 150 jet in there, and it's running great. Lots of extra power, and a Spider air filter thingy, you know, the funny triangular one type thingy. When of course the service tank. Now when I bought the bike it was a 20 litre, but after the crash they had to replace the tank, and as the 25 litre was the same cost as the 20 litre, I said give me the 25, and that's what we did. Okay, now we're on to the mods after the crash. So once I got the bike done and back, what did I do? Okay, well I've just mentioned I got a 25 litre tank. I removed the fork brace because I felt it's not really doing much. Couldn't really feel it except for turning around corners, and it made it a lot stiffer. I don't know, I might put it back, I'm not too sure yet, but since I've had the suspension done, it's all been good. I've mentioned the lower foot pegs, that was done after the crash. I took off the Moto Tech panniers because now I've gone reckless. In fact, I've gone reckless with the Moscow Motors Reckless 80, but I've put these on just for side protection, and I think it looks really neat. And not having those panniers on opens this whole area up and makes it look a lot more sexy, if you know what I mean. I've removed the B&B top plate. That's again, that was for the Moscow Motors, so it's like a saddle you put on your bike, and it just helps it droop down further rather than having to come out further with the top plate on. So I've removed that. And the tyres, I've changed the tyres. Let's talk about tyres. So originally I had the Death Wings on. They run their course, and then I went with the MT21s. They were part of the Tanami Edition package. The rear one ran down. No, actually it didn't. I've still got it. The front one was the one that wore down real quick. The rear one's still good. That's in the garage. And the front one, after my Birdsville trip, was all cupped and scalloped, I think, scalloped or something like that. So it made you ride like this. So I've replaced that with a Motors Tractionator Adventure, and this is the tube type, and this is an awesome tyre. Compared to the MT21, this is slightly less aggressive. It's not a knobby in a true sense, but it feels a lot less dicey on the road, and it's still providing great traction on this dirt, so I'm really happy with that. On the rear is the Motors Tractionator Adventure again, obviously the rear tyre. This is a tubeless type, so it was a bit of a squeeze to get on, but as you can see, it's still got plenty of tread on there, and that's after a 3,000 return journey to Birdsville, so that's doing really well, and this, very happy with that. So Motors Tractionators, highly recommended, love them. Right, okay, so now it comes to the actual feel and ride of the bike. Now, as I mentioned, I came from an F800, and jumping onto this thing, it just opened up a whole new world to me. I was not scared to explore tracks that I would previously have turned away, because this bike is just so much lighter than the F800 that, yeah, I have the confidence. It filled me with confidence to tackle the tracks that I would avoid. So in that respect, it's great, really good. Now the stock suspension is shite, and as soon as I change that, it handles these off-road tracks with ruts and corrugations a lot better. So that was a must, because otherwise with the stock suspension it was so soft, even pulling up at the traffic lights the front end would dive when you put the brakes on. Yeah, terrible. So that was a good investment, and it really proves itself on these rough roads. So weight wise, yeah, it's good for me. I can pick it up from a drop position, so long as if I've got enough strength in me. I'm not a big bloke, but I can certainly pick this up, so long as it's not on a downward slope. Otherwise I'd have to spin it round. But yeah, it's just light enough for me to pick up, which I would have been in trouble with the F800. I really must go to the gym. Handling wise, yeah, it's great. Does everything I want it to do. On the roads, it's nimble. I can weave traffic, no problems. And off-road, I'm no expert. Still learning, always learning. But yeah, I can rip along these tracks quite happily, and with confidence, and handle the bike. It doesn't feel heavy that I think I'm going to lose it, as long as I'm riding it carefully. Really, really great. Really, probably the best bike I've ridden in terms of off-road handling. The F800 was clanky and big. The KLR 650 again was a big bike, and it didn't really feel at home on rough tracks. So this bike kind of fits the bill. Comfort wise, a new seat is a must. Your arse will thank you. I just had a sit on Bo's KTM that we saw earlier. That seat was like a workbench. Ow. But I guess on those sort of bikes you'll be standing up most of the time. But reason for the soft seat here is obviously we want to do some kilometers to get to all those exciting places on our travels. Ease of maintenance. Yes, well, I've learnt so much from owning this bike because of wanting to do a lot of work on it myself. The most challenging, I guess, would have been the rejetting of the carburetor, but you know, I can take this bike apart, albeit the engine, and put it back together again. Now that's something I would never attempt on another bike, or have indeed never attempted on another bike. It's only since owning the DR that I've actually you know, had the what's the word, enthusiasm and confidence to be able to play around and experiment with it. So it's really good in that respect, and I've really enjoyed just tinkering with it and learnt a lot. Fuel efficiency, I've had it rejetted and it's not the greatest. It's not too bad. I think I was getting about 5.1 litres per 100 on a good straight road. It's not too bad. It's not brilliant, but yeah, there's a trade-off when you rejet. If you're going to push more fuel into the engine, you're going to drink a bit more, I suppose. Again, I'm not an expert. You can correct me if I'm wrong. But yeah, so it's about 5.1 litres per 100. And after rejetting, yeah, lots of power. In fact, the most noticeable power was when I changed the exhaust. Once I put this on and did the airbox mod. Oh yeah, I did the airbox mod. Yeah, instant power. Really good. And then the carby mod, just to fine tune it. Sorry, the carby mod, the rejetting, fine tune it. If I sound out of breath, probably am. Yeah, so that all tied up nicely with the exhaust. So there you go. That's about it. So my review. Any regrets? Absolutely none. Do I recommend it? Absolutely. Definitely. I've not had so much fun on a bike since owning this DR. I really haven't. I couldn't want for another bike at the moment. Bo's KTM did look good, but that's aside. This suits me down to the ground. It can take me on long trips in relative comfort, and it can take me off-road and tackle the tracks that my skills are up to. So it does everything. I commute on this bike to work every day, and then obviously I come out at the weekends for a bit of rough play. Hey. So yeah, it's perfect. It does and I think it looks pretty good too. I'm glad I took those rear panniers off, because it does now have a more sort of off-roady look. Opens the back end up a lot, and it just looks really neat. So I think that's about it. What did I pay? I think I paid 9,100 back in 2020. And I know that they're not making them anymore for the Australian market, so I think prices have gone up somewhat. But yeah, she's not for sale. Ha 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 ha. So there you go. Yes, love the bike. Really happy with it in every respect. Improvements? Improvements. What could they do? I guess really my only complaint is this horrible speedometer. I really hate that. Really hate that. Looks ugly. I wish I might put one of those vapor things on instead, because they look pretty neat. But apart from that, no complaints. I love it. Really good. Suits me down to the ground. Alright, so that's my review. I can put this away. Did I tell you I smashed my phone? Look at this. My new Pixel. Alright, let's get suited and booted and continue on with our ride. Alright, off we go. Man, it's just been taking longer than I expected. It's like 3:30. Take it nice and steady anyway. This looks like Clover's Lookout. Whoa! Oh, hit straight. That rock straight on. That's what they call, was it target fixation? Excuse the sniffles. Whoa, whoa, a bit rutted up here. always a bit dicey going downhill. Woohoo! I think he might have been the guy that went by earlier. Because I tried to film, but I don't think I pressed record. Here's another guy. It's 3 KTMs I've come across today. So all you DR650 owners out there, what are your impressions of the bike? What are your thoughts? And are you comparing it to any other bikes that you've ridden in a similar fashion? Oh, hello. like to have gotten the drone up, but I'm running out of time, so that will have to be for another day. Sadly. Bit of rough stuff. Just soaks these ruts up really well. Loving these Motors Adventure or Tractionator Adventure tyres. Front's holding up remarkably well. Long may it do so. Don't want to go flying off there in a hurry. Now, in case you can't tell, we are in fact going downhill, which is why I'm taking it steady. power slide yet. Not intentionally anyway. Would have been better coming the other way at this time because of the sun. Nicely does it. Great time to be out though. Nice and cool. You better go the other way, but the sun's at a nice angle. I think that's the end of our trip. Yeah. Gantry left, Debra right, and that's where we're going because it's time to go home. Well, that's it, folks. This is just a road going down all the way back to the main road, back through Debra, Sanford, Brisbane. Well, thank you very much for joining me on this ride and review. Hope you enjoyed the review. Let me know your thoughts and comments on your likes and dislikes of the DR. I'm sure it's been done. I know it's been done a million times before, but it's always good to hear someone else's perspective. These DRs will be around for a lot longer yet, even though that they've stopped manufacturing them for the Australian market. And I'm not letting mine go anytime soon. So that's it from me for now. Hope you'll enjoy this video. Do hit the like button, possibly share it with some other bikers, and if you haven't already, please subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Biker Bytes over and out.